This video is called Atheists. Here's proof God exists. ... I've only seen so much of this video and, yes, it is really bad. Strap in, folks.
Natural revelation is evidence or proof from nature or from the world.
Is this the look at stars, look at the trees argument? Spoiler alert. Yes, it is.
From nature or from the world that supports the existence of God.
To which no such evidence exists. There is no evidence from nature that supports the existence of a God. Or if there is, I've missed it. From over more than 100 videos watched, debates, and from people preaching at me, I'm confident enough to say that I'm not just missing it. It's just not there.
For example, we can use the rules of logic and we can look at creation, can look around, see trees, shrubs, the sky, oceans, water, land, people, materials.
Look at the trees, look at the stars, look at the sky, look at the people. God must exist. Despite the fact I said literally nothing about God, this is enough to prove he exists. Because instead of finding answers, we have religion to tell us what to think. Don't think for yourself.
And we say, look at this beautiful creation. Well, if there is a creation, then that necessarily presupposes that there is a creator of creation.
Creation is loaded language. Yes, creation presupposes creator, but that's just because you are calling the universe creation instead of calling it the universe.
Everything that is created has its own creator.
Okay, let's say for the sake of argument that I agree with that statement. Prove that the universe was created.
We look at a house.
Look at a house. That was made by people. Therefore, the universe was made by God, because I lack an imagination and want to prove my preconceived notions without putting in effort.
And we see this piece of architecture and we immediately recognize that there was an architect behind the architecture that created that piece of property. We look at a piece of jewelry and we say that there's a jeweler who created that piece of jewelry.
Because we live in a society where that is known. If we didn't, and if we just saw jewelry for the first time, we'd probably not assume that. You can cut that out. You don't need to include that in the video. Do you not have an editing software? We don't want to see you wipe your face with a handkerchief, man.
We look at a car and we automatically recognize that there was a mechanic, an electrician who built that car, who created that car.
What does this say about the universe? You can assume what you want, but that doesn't actually mean anything. And again, we live in a society where we know about automotive companies. Imagine you go to a planet and you see a Florbgnap. And obviously, you've never seen a Florbgnap. Is your first instinct, who created this? Or is it, why is this here? Almost any scientist who would see a Florbgnap, they would go, why is this here? Not, who made this thing? Please get an editing software. Most of them are free. You're running Windows 11, so I know that a lot of different softwares will run just fine.
Everything that is created has its own creator.
Wait, there are subtitles, like custom ones. You must have edited those in. So you can clearly edit, at least to add subtitles. When you're adding subtitles, cut out all of the silences and the wiping of your face and stuff.
Creation did not just pop out of existence, didn't just randomly happen. It had to have come from something or someone.
Assumptions and false dichotomies.
There had to have been a creator behind creation.
Loaded language begging the question.
The rules of logic demand that we admit that.
No, you demand that we admit that. By misusing language and begging the question, you force us into a position where we have to admit something that is based on unfounded assumptions.
So that is one piece of evidence, you could say.
You definitely could say. Should say is one thing, would say is another, but you could say it is evidence.
To further this support, we can look at the orderliness, the beauty, and the harmony of creation.
Look at pretty, therefore God.
And by logical necessity, we have to admit that the orderliness, the beauty, the inner harmony, how everything works together throughout creation, proves that there has to have been an intelligent designer.
Really, by necessity, as in the only option is to say that God must exist. We can't employ the anthropic principle, we can't suppose mechanisms, we can't hypothesize other explanations. We must say that God exists, according to logic. It is the only option. I didn't know the rules of logic were so restrictive.
There's intelligence behind
You good there, bud? You got it.
creation.
Good job. I always believed in you. Hello?
There's not chaos in creation.
Wait, what was your argument?
An intelligent designer. There's intelligence behind creation. There's not chaos in creation. There's order, there's beauty, there's mathematical precision, and there's harmony in creation.
Okay, so the universe is ordered according to rules, therefore God. Basically, just pointing at things and saying, therefore God, without providing any reasoning. You have to give me proof that the mathematical precision is evidence of God.
And that points to an intelligent designer.
Why?
You don't get intelligence without an intelligent creator.
Okay, prove it. Or at least give me a reason why intelligence can't arise naturally on its own. They used to say the same thing about wings and eyes, but then we discovered evolution, and it blew that argument out of the water.
One presupposes the other.
Why?
It's another natural piece of evidence revealing the existence of God to us.
All the orderliness of the universe reveals to us as the orderliness of the universe. All the mathematical precision reveals to us as the mathematical precision. This says nothing about intelligent design, and I can't even grant that apparent intelligent design proves anything about God.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard and read this many times over the years, is that if the sun were even ever so slightly, like an inch or less, closer or further away from where it is positioned, this earth would cease to exist. Human existence would cease.
The Earth is miles farther away from the sun in June than it is in December. The Earth gets closer and farther away all the time. We have more wiggle room than one may think. I suspect that the Earth could be where Mars is, and everything else being equal, we'd be just fine.
If it was even a little bit closer towards the earth, the entire earth would be scorched to death.
And that's why December is midsummer, right? And June is the dead of winter? I guess for people in the southern hemisphere that's actually true. But I'm from the northern hemisphere, so...
It would be too hot, and we would literally die from the extreme heat of the sun because of its proximity. But if it was even ever so slightly a little further away from the earth, then we would also die from freezing. In other words, the sun is perfectly, mathematically, precisely positioned in such a way, just enough to provide this earth with the necessary sustenance and support and nourishment and all the rest to thrive and flourish and continue to exist.
Fine, whatever. Let's just grant your complete misunderstanding of astronomy. Employing the anthropic principle, we can say that we must exist on a world where the conditions are perfect for life, Therefore, your argument has no impact on the debate about the existence of God.
That cannot be an accident.
Oh, it can't be? Why not?
That cannot be a random chance thing.
Why?
I would argue that it's harder to believe that that's just a random accident by pure chance, pure luck, than it is to believe in the existence of a God, a creator, an intelligent designer who positioned it in such a way so perfectly without it going to one extreme or the other.
You think it's more likely that an infinitely more complex being than anything else that we have ever observed, which exists without cause, is the reason we exist, than that one random event occurred once.
It's actually, in other words, it's harder to disbelieve in the existence of God than it is to believe in the existence of God. The weight of evidence just from natural phenomena is a stronger argument for the existence of God than any other kind of argument out there that supposedly disproves the existence of God.
So far, this video hasn't made a single argument for God. You've just said a variety of disjointed facts and put therefore God after them. If that's an argument for God, then I can just as easily say the earth rotates, therefore God doesn't exist.
And that's why the psalmist David says, the fool says in his heart there is no God. I think that's Psalm 4 or 40. The fool says in his heart there is no God. In other words, forgive me for being so blunt, you're stupid if you don't believe in the existence of God.
Look at the stars, look at the trees. I don't know, God. Look at the earth, look at the sun. I don't know, God. Oh, these aren't good arguments? You must be stupid then, because in the Bible it says you're stupid. It also says that people who call others fools will burn in hell. So, I'll see you on the other side.
I mean, it's really just that simple. It's really that straightforward.
Statement plus therefore God is a non-argument.
You really have to be an idiot. You really have to be a fool to not believe in the existence of God.
Christian love.
Another natural phenomenon in this world supporting the existence of God is universal morality, a collective conscience.
Which provably doesn't exist.
In other words, everyone in the world has a moral compass.
Except psychopaths, sociopaths, and people with certain other mental conditions.
Everyone has a sort of conscience inside of them.
Let's say that's true. Does this support the existence of God? Or does it support the existence of some sort of, some kind of evolutionary advantage for a social animal?
That tells them right from wrong.
But crucially, it's not always the same right and wrong. It seems to be taught and learned and experienced, rather than objective and given.
And for the Orthodox, we would say that this is the Holy Spirit speaking inside of us.
The Holy Spirit sure does seem to tell different people different things.
The universal agreement of all people, regardless of race, age, and political views, that killing an innocent, defenseless baby is wrong, proves that morality is not subjective.
And yet, people kill babies. I also like the amount of clarifying statements. Innocent, defenseless babies. Like a baby is going to go rob someone or run at me with a knife.
It's not something that humans made up.
No, it's something we figured out and taught to future generations. Just as English isn't made up, morality isn't either. Yet, English isn't some objective truth of reality.
But it's something that is objective, something that we received from the outside in.
You know what? Just for the sake of it, granted, we received objective morality from the outside in. How does this prove God? How is this an argument for God? Especially the God of the Bible.
And that it derives from a higher being that put this moral compass inside of us, who dictates what's right and wrong.
Who dictates what is right and what is wrong? Seems like it's not very objective then.
In other words, the fact that Every culture, generally speaking, every culture, generally speaking, every culture, generally speaking.
Generally speaking? Huh? Generally speaking? That's interesting. Generally speaking.
Every culture across the entire world, generally speaking, regardless of their political views, regardless of their religious views, regardless of, uh, you know, their personal opinions, regardless of a lot of these things.
You did it again! Regardless of a lot of these things? Is this a troll? Are you doing that on purpose?
Somehow, every human being in this world, 7 billion, 8 billion, however many it is, every person that comes into this world has some sense of morality, some sense of a moral compass, some sense of a conscience inside of them that gives them this inner intuition, this perception of this is right, this is wrong. Generally speaking, generally speaking.
Generally speaking.
That didn't just pop into every human being out of nowhere. That's not the result of biological evolution.
It's not the result of biological evolution. How did you get this profound insight? Also, popping out of nowhere and resulting from evolution are certainly not the same, not even comparable.
It's not like one culture looked at another culture said, "Oh, they believe this is right and this is wrong. Let's imitate them." And then somehow all the cultures around the world believe the exact same thing and think the exact same way and have this inner intuition, compass, moral compass, conscious inside of them, dictating right from wrong simply by looking at other people and saying, "Oh, well, they're doing it. Let's do it too."
You're right, that didn't happen. Instead, each culture made their own morality, separately, and came to their own separate conclusions. And that's why every culture, every person, has their own moral compass. That's why we argue about morality so much.
You don't get the entire world to live that way just by mere imitation, generally speaking. Every person has this moral compass, this conscience inside of them, generally speaking. Precisely because it was given to us by a higher being that created us with that. That is, we could say that's one of the things that makes us in the image of God. We have a sense of morality.
Yeah, generally speaking. Sorry, I will never find that joke not funny. It's just too good. Generally speaking.
A conscience. That's something that distinguishes us from the animal kingdom, from the animals.
We are animals, and non-human animals have displayed morality.
Generally speaking. So that universal morality, that universal collective conscience points to, again, another proof that there's a higher being that exists and has put that inside all of us.
Your outro is atrocious.
Generally speaking.
Phenomena. Do 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 do. Phenomena. Do 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 do. Phenomena. Do 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 do. Phenomena. Do 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 do. Which provably doesn't exist. Phenomena. Do 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 do. Phenomena. Do 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 do.
Generally speaking.